Welcome back to Nobody is Safe. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. So, this is Jason. I'm your host for Nobody's Safe. Here with my frenemy and co-host, Mr. Bryce Pinson. Welcome back, Bryce.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. You haven't kicked me off the show yet for talking so much trash. So,
man, we're enjoying it so far, man. I think the trash talk is what everybody likes. So,
I know
I think we're gonna have to stick with it somehow.
Unfortunately,
but, yeah.
No, fortunately, I love to trash talk you, man.
Hey, man, what else would we do? It wouldn't even be right. The show wouldn't be right if we weren't talking trash to each other. Come on, man.
Unauthentic is what it would be.
And speaking of unauthentic,
that was good.
Hey, listen. Speaking of unauthentic, let's talk a little bit about Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher.
Back
Apparently
again.
Friends again. After
frenemies, they're like us.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I don't know. A couple of weeks ago, they're freaking screaming at each other and talking about how, Saban's talking about how they had bought their entire class, $30 million worth, which is true. It's true. And then you have Jimbo coming back. Jimbo is coming. Not even just
kidding.
Saban got that from a right spot, so he wasn't lying. But then you got Jimbo coming back talking about how Saban's been cheating forever, and
we never cheat.
And we never cheat. Yeah, everybody's going because it's a great agriculture school at Texas A&M.
What city is that in? Is that in L.A.?
Right. Yeah.
College Station.
This is one of the best universities in the country.
I mean, it is called College Station, therefore people should want to go to college there.
Right. And it's not to play football at all. Not at all. They want to go there so they're good. They can go raise pigs or whatever the hell they're going to do up there. Whatever, dude. But, yeah. So now, and then, of course, the SEC got in there and they both got verbal warnings, I guess is what it is. Or they were verbally, what did they call it? So they got their little slap on the hand. Now, Nikki, don't be talking like that about Jimbo. And then of course Jimbo has continued to poke, and then at this week at Media Days, though, they have apparently made up. But let's listen in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen here, and we're going to listen into Nick Saban.
Now, what evidence did you have that Texas A&M bought its entire recruiting class?
I didn't really say that anybody did anything wrong.
You said they bought their recruiting class.
I didn't say anybody did anything
wrong.
Okay, and I've said everything I'm going to say about this. But, I think that, I guess the point, and I should have never mentioned any individual institutions. I said that before.
Is Jimbo lying when he says that they didn't do?
I have no problem with Jimbo. I have no problem with Jimbo at all.
No problem with Jimbo at all.
Best friends.
No problem with Jimbo at all.
Best friends.
A week ago or 2 weeks ago, not only was he on Jimbo, he was also on Dion. and they were buying up their kids, and damn shame on them. And then of course Jimbo, I will give Jimbo credit on this, is that dude came back at Saban in a way that I didn't even know he was capable of. But temper tantrums, as temper tantrums go, it's pretty good. I haven't seen anybody outside of my own kids when they were like, 8, 9 years old, maybe even younger, that they would throw a fit like that. You've got young ones. You've seen that kind of fit,
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. But
10-year-old, 6-year-old.
Yeah. So now you've got Jimbo here, and here's what he has to say.
We had any, just like we would on normal conversations within the issues that we had. We all had a lot of dialogue. Probably since I've been here, but I've also been in the ACC meeting for all those years when I was a head coach. One of the best dialogues as far as a group of coaches with everyone speaking and having opinions that I've been around one of the best ones we had because everybody knows the pressing issues. But we had dialogue. If he had an opinion, we had an opinion. I mean, we all discuss things very professionally in the right way.
Did you clear the air, though, with him? Did you speak to him directly about what you accused him of?
We spoke very in the beginning, and he's been what he accused us of. Both things. We said it's over with. We're done talking about it and what happens, and we're moving on to the future, what goes on, and try to fix the problems of what we have in college football. We're a lot more pressing needs than our arguments.
So you said that directly. We're done. This is over. We're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on to do what we got. I have no problem.
Jimbo, that says with 2 weeks have gone by, do you look back, do you regret anything you said?
No, I mean, things are said, and what he says, what we say. I mean, it moves on. We're moving on to the next thing.
Jimbo, you seem to imply that you were aware of malfeasance within Nick's program. Do you have any evidence?
No, I just made comments, and we're moving on to the next thing.
You had it right talking about kids, man. Daddy SEC sat them down, smacked them around a little bit, whooped their butts, and told them, you're going to go out there, you're going to apologize to one another, and you're not leaving the room until you do.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what
Oh, yeah.
happened.
Because come on, man. There's no way after all the crap that's been going back and forth between these two guys. I mean, well, now Nick, he said that, and you know what? You said it perfect in our first podcast when you were talking about that. Well, and Dion said it perfectly. He wasn't talking to me. He wasn't talking to Jimbo. He was talking to his boosters, and that's the truth. The truth of it was that's exactly where he was when he made those comments about him buying his class. Now the thing is, and let's just be serious about this. First and foremost, they did buy their class. Okay.
Yes.
$30 million. Everybody knows about it. It was in the Bro Bible, which I did see this the other day where Jimbo was like kind of raking somebody over the coals about, it was another media member saying that according to his compliance department, out of all their 11 early enrollees, only one of them had a UIL deal, an NIL.
That guy got $30 million. That one guy got $30 million.
No, he didn't. And that's the thing. So obviously this is, and that's what I'm getting at is that, okay, first and foremost, guys, it's not even against the law anymore. It's not against the rules. You're not going to freaking lose your scholarships or any of that other stuff. Even if you used NIL money to entice them, that rule barely came into play a couple of weeks ago from the NCAA, whether they have teeth or not anymore. We don't even have to go into that. But let's just say they do. They probably don't. Let's just say they do. Even then, they couldn't be, they're not going to go back and say, well, you did that. And so now we're going to take scholarships away. They're not. So first and foremost, it isn't even against the rules. So why in the hell are you sitting there pounding the table and lying to everybody about what you didn't do? Because to me, the only thing that you can get, if you're Jimbo Fisher, the only thing that you can do to get yourself in trouble here is to continue lying about it. Hey everybody, this is Jason Watkins. I'm the host of the Way Past Due podcast as well. Just wanted to tell everybody to check out the podcast, the newest episodes. We are doing what we call the Apples to Apples wide receiver statistical comparison calculator, where we take Otis Taylor's career and put it up against the best to ever play, even guys such as Jerry Rice. You don't want to miss it. This is the only way to really put up his career against the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, two things. One, obviously, like just be honest, because now you just look like a fool because everybody can see what happened. It's not like you just sound stupid now. But number two, like I find it funny that one of the most violent games on the planet, these guys have turned into rainbows and lollipops. You know what I'm saying?
And especially when like we said 2 weeks ago, they're like, I mean,
just leave it at that.
Jimbo's saying stuff,
SEC
he's saying stuff like, you are lying. And not only that, but I've been in his program and I know he cheats. Okay, so you go from that to, we ain't got no problems. We got no problems.
Yeah, we love each other.
Yeah, and Nick,
so
I don't have no problem with Jimbo. I don't have no problem. And he backtracked. Listen, this part I love because it's not often that Nick Saban backtracks off of anything.
Yeah, true.
He thinks that there is not a damn thing that he does that is wrong, and but again, to me, the problem that I'm seeing here with either one of them, I think a lot less of them myself. And I can tell you that as a parent, okay, I've got kids that are not even that. Well, we're talking about recruiting. So think of it in these terms. My deal is that, like, think about it. You're going to have athletes. You've got athletes. You're going to have athletes that are getting recruited soon. And if you start thinking about that stuff, look, do you want somebody that's going to sit in there and they're full of shit? And do you want your daughter to go play there? No. Or your son? You're not going to want that.
Yeah.
Same with me. I mean, I've got kids that just graduated in the last few years as well, And to me, I've got an athlete, and I would not have wanted him to go. I mean, yes, do you want him to go play for the best program that they possibly can? Sure. But like this can only hurt this lying shit is only hurting.
Yeah.
It's only hurting them,
sure.
I mean, I don't want to hear that crap from them. And particularly when your guys are the ones that are winning championships. I don't want to hear it from Dabo either. And he whined and complained for the entirety of the season last year about the NIL because they apparently didn't do well with it. And he immediately starts throwing their losing onto that. No, it wasn't your quarterback being crappy. It was that, that you didn't get, that the NIL is screwing up college football. It's
just making it to where you don't win it every year and you don't like that. Yeah, so I was kind of looking at I don't know if I'm jumping where we're supposed to be, but I was kind of looking at the recruiting classes, and you said something about Georgia's coach earlier off air.
Kirby.
Yeah, he didn't want to get in between it. So just so people know what we're talking about, Texas A&M got 8 5-star recruits, and Alabama only got 3. And then Georgia came in 3rd in the recruiting class. So that's, I guess, why they're saying, well, why isn't he speaking up? So.
Yeah, well, he's got the most to gain by them screwing it up the way that they are. I mean, they already won the national championship last year, and they're doing fine. And Georgia always does fine on the recruiting trail. They did with Mark Richt. Look, Georgia's a big-time SEC school, and with the way that Florida's been down, they looked like they were coming back. Dan Mullen screwed that all up in 1 year's time. What an idiot. But, listen, to me, I feel like, and Kirby, you know what? Kirby is still, I know he's trying to beat Nick Saban, but he's not at the point where he doesn't want to kiss his ass still because, King Nick is still King Nick. As long as he still acts like he's subservient and then just wins, then he's good to go. But the second that Nick throws him under the bus, we'll see how that happens. Because, and here's the deal. Bottom line is that once you beat him at recruiting in any way, shape, or form, like even, hell, Deion Sanders is coaching in the SWAC.
The SWAC. That's perfect for him. The SWAC is a great name for Deion.
SWAC for the swag. Hey, listen, but come on, man. It's a HBCU school. They're not competing for the same thing. So for him to throw his little fit at Deion, or to kind of throw him under the bus for they supposedly paid that kid $1 million, which doesn't seem like that's correct.
That's not. The kid's like my family's still living in a apartment.
Yeah,
I got a mill.
Yeah, I got a mill. Yeah, okay. And even and Deion was like, dude, I didn't get a mill. What do you mean? That's probably not, So I don't know. It's, to me, I feel like now I would be concerned if you're going to be concerned about anything, Saban, with Deion Sanders, is that he leaves Jackson State for one of these other jobs that keeps popping up, which, they were talking about him for if Harbaugh had indeed ended up with the Minnesota job, they were talking about throwing him a bone there. They had spoken about him for the Oklahoma opening. His name keeps coming up in these other jobs. I'll
tell you what, Jason. One thing that I notice, and I think it's just a different game altogether than the NFL. And even high school football, like a big name like Deion Sanders going to any school changes the recruiting.
Well, it
and
does.
whenever that happens, it doesn't matter if you can even
for a
coach your way
defensive back.
over.
That's why that guy was the number one recruit, because of he was a stud DB.
Yeah.
Who the hell else you want to go to but the best one in his whole generation?
Yep.
Cover corner. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, you don't think that he would have wanted to go and play for Deion? They're buddies anyway. Deion was coaching him anyway while he was in high school. Having him do his camp and things like that. Jalen Ramsey loves Deion Sanders.
Deion's my favorite dude. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I like that guy. He was my favorite football player.
Yeah, listen, man.
That's my dude.
I got to tell you, Prime was the man. Prime was the man. There's no two ways around it. They didn't ever have an island for him, but he had an island. Nobody was throwing at him.
I'll tell you what, that he should have had an island, because I've never seen a cover corner better than Prime. My opinion.
No, and that includes Revis. Revis was great. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame guy in my opinion. But Deion literally, listen, when he went to the Niners, they won the Super Bowl that year. They should have won it anyway. They were right there anyway. But he shut Michael Irvin down in that NFC Championship game. And then whenever he went back to the Cowboys. Well, when he went to the Cowboys, then
the next year, what's the only thing that changed there?
Yeah, the next year they win again.
He won 2 back-to-back for 2 different teams, and I do think you say a DB doesn't carry that much. Dude, I do think.
Oh, it mattered because here's the
DB
thing: the Niners hadn't been able to beat the Cowboys, that current Cowboys team. That they were great, and like I said, they hadn't been able to do it. Even though they had Ricky Waters, they had, of course, Jerry Rice was still in his prime. We're talking, and Steve Young, he wasn't Joe Montana, but he was, he's a Hall of Famer. So
Deion cut the field in half.
Deion
and that changed
literally
the game.
shut Irvin down. Done. Finished.
Yeah.
And they lost that game. Now, you could say a lot of things about, Jimmy Johnson wasn't there that year, blah, 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 whatever. But then they turn around, and whenever he goes to the Cowboys, then they win.
You know what? That's what you should do, Jason. You should have an Otis Taylor segment one day of guys, and just judge what guys can Deion shut down and what guys can he not. Because he shut down Irving. He didn't shut down Rice necessarily. He gave Rice all he could handle.
Yeah,
but,
and they weren't buddies. They weren't buddies, but Rice was the one guy. Nobody shut down Jerry Rice. Shit.
Yeah, and I don't think no one's shutting down Calvin
happening.
Johnson. I don't think no one's shutting down, Randy Moss.
No.
And if there is someone, it's Deion. Deion's the only one.
T.O. was never shut down by anyone either.
You think Deion couldn't shut down T.O.? I think he could.
I don't think he could. Nope.
Otis?
No, and
I don't think so either.
No way, dude. Otis was just big, strong. Look, here's the thing: we're gonna get back into that in just a few minutes. He is Calvin Johnson, and that's exactly, if you look at the body size and body type, he is that. And we'll get back into that in just a minute. But just to kind of finish off of what we're talking about, going back to this thing with these guys, I'm sick of it. These guys are on my damn nerves. They really are. When it comes to Saban and Jimbo. Come on, fellas. Sabo. Oh, Sabo. That's a great name.
Perfect.
It's a great name.
What? If we're sick of it, let's move on.
Yeah, and we should.
We're done with Sabo.
Yeah, screw Sabo. And because you can throw Dabo in there too. That's awesome. Yes, that's
Sabo,
a name for the three of them.
Saban.
It's for the three, the Dabo,
the love
Sabo,
affair.
whatever. Nah, those dudes. Screw those guys. Oh well. But okay, so going into it, if we're looking at right now, I guess the next big thing was going to be, let's see where Arch Manning goes, because we're talking about
who is Arch Manning?
Arch Manning is the son of Cooper Manning, the brother that didn't make it to the NFL because of injuries. The brother of Eli and Peyton, of course, that didn't make it to the NFL. He was actually a receiver at Ole Miss during the Peyton. During the Peyton Manning time. I guess he's a little older. So he went.
Did he ever make it to Ole Miss? I didn't think he did.
He did. He played at Ole Miss and got hurt
Okay.
there. And that's essentially, I think, why Peyton ended up at Tennessee, because his brother wasn't playing. They had played
And he would have
together
went.
in high
So
school.
he would have played with
I'm
his
pretty
brother.
sure he would have went to
Their
Ole Miss,
relationship was really close, and a lot of, like, during high school, him and
Right.
Cooper lit it up.
Lit it
You know
up.
what I'm saying?
Yes, they did. I mean, they played for that. Yeah, they turned to a private school
was
that
the-
hadn't even been there anymore, or hadn't even been there into they just won everything. Yeah, they lit it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's looking like right now we're looking at Arch has cut down to a top 3, Georgia, Texas, Alabama.
Do you like that?
You know, it seems a little odd to me. I would think that it kind of surprises me that he's not more considering Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I would still think that maybe they're still in the running, unless there's something there that maybe they have a problem with Lane Kiffin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Although I don't know
Well,
why
here,
you would. I don't know why you
Let
would.
me ask you a
He's winning.
question. Like, if you're the number 1 recruit and you're a quarterback in college football, where are you going?
Yeah, I would definitely probably be going somewhere like there, or maybe SC. And I know that's
I'm
kind of
going
what
to
you were
SC.
talking. Yeah, I was waiting
I'm
for
going
you
to
to kind of
SC.
say that. Yeah, listen, Lincoln Riley. I mean, he's got back-to-back Heismans and back-to-back number 1s. You know,
And I mean, yeah, right there, back-to-back Heisman's, back-to-back number 1s, and he made Jalen Hurts a freaking
the first rounder. What
Heisman,
the hell just happened?
a Heisman candidate, and right
A
there,
Heisman finalist.
I want to get. Yep, I want to get. If I'm the number 1 quarterback, I want to be coached by that guy. That's me.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think that if we're talking that along those lines, I don't think that you would necessarily go wrong with Lane either. I mean, Lane Kiffin has
Absolutely.
done his thing. And for that matter, Sark, Sark was the coach for he was the OC and quarterback coach there at Alabama with Mac Jones, who ended up going first round last year as well. So
you follow this better than me, Jason. What about the system at LSU that produced Joe Burrow? Is that still a real system? Like, are those guys
it's
still
not
there? The same
system.
coaches
Now
and all that?
Now it's Brian Kelly who has done his own thing.
Where are those guys
Notre
at?
Dame. I don't know exactly. I know that it said, according to this information here. Let me get back to that real quick.
Like, who is
they
that
had him,
offensive coordinator that just lit up? Like Joe Burrow and
Oh
LSU's
yeah,
been
no, he's in the
predominantly
NFL
running-
now. He's
cool.
that guy is man. If you hadn't asked me that, I'd have his name right on the top of my head. But anyway, it's he's the offensive coordinator at Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Listen, but that's not. It's going to be Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly. Look, there's a reason why Notre Dame, without the ability to recruit the same way, and I don't care what anybody wants to say. There was a guy I saw on Twitter. We're going to talk about Twitter in a minute anyway, but a guy I saw on Twitter that was talking about how not to think much of LSU because, with all the recruiting classes that Notre Dame had whenever he was there, they could never beat Clemson, and they were just as good recruiting classes as Clemson. What? No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Let's go back and look at it. No, and we were like, dude, shut up. That's silly talk. But that's what they were, the truth of it is Notre Dame, they are not going to get some of these SEC kids that, hey, look, man, you got to have a pulse to get into LSU, man. They don't care. They don't care.
Well,
and I'm not trying to badmouth LSU that much, but the academic standards at Notre Dame, they absolutely do not soften those standards for anyone. So, whereas you have to be not just able to pass the ACT, SATs on a certain level like you do at any other college, right? In order to get into Notre Dame, you have to have a certain grade point average. You have to have a certain score on the SATs. I mean, it has to be a high score. They do not soften that for people. So the bottom line is the guys that are they're going to get 2 or 3 guys a year that were really good, but the depth of talent in the SEC is on another level. And yet this man took 2 teams to the playoffs from Notre Dame.
I'll tell you this.
And they are not fit for that. They are not.
Well, Jason, so I get where that guy on Twitter's coming from. So I had to go look that up just now because you're saying that, and I get it. I understand that there's a higher standard, but how the media makes it seem every single year whenever they put the spotlight on all of Notre Dame's recruits, they make it seem like these guys are getting the best recruiting class every single year. Obviously they're not, but they are always top 10. And they do beat LSU sometimes. 2018, I just looked it up. 2018, I think it was 2018. Let me drop down. Every other year, LSU beat them. But in 2018, you got Notre Dame number 10, LSU number 15.
That happened because Coach O had just taken over they didn't know what was about to happen with the whole deal with, that was, what's his name? The Mad Hatter. That was Les Miles when he got fired. So that was when that happened. And then Coach O comes in. They immediately win the national title, not because of Coach O necessarily, but and I like Coach O, but he just, the guy's not. He's a great assistant coach.
Well, and LSU every other year is top 5. So it wasn't about Notre Dame being better. Notre Dame's always right in that 10 to 12 to 15 area.
Brother, it's not even that. They might have gotten, there might be certain years that they're going to grab a couple of really good kids, right? And it's going to bump their recruiting ranking up there some. But when you think of the depth, we're talking, this is why I'm always on Texas because, bro, they're a top 5, top 2 recruiting class year after year after year after year.
And they can't win.
And they do jack crap when they get it out there on the field. Now, Tom Herman was on his way, I think. I'm glad they fired him and got Sark in there. But, you
love ragging on your rivals, man. I'm glad they signed the Arizona Cardinals guy. What was his name? From Texas Tech. I'm glad they fired Tom Herman.
Bro. Yes, I hope Kingsbury. I'm so glad that they re-upped him. That was awesome. That's a gift that keeps on giving. He was at Texas Tech and just gave to the Oklahoma Sooners as much as they could. And then he goes from there. He can't win more than 6 games a year. So they fire him. What does he get as a gift? The Cardinals.
Hey, Lane Kiffin used to be like that too, man. I know Lane's good now and he's considered good, but that dude used to fail up all the time. Every time he'd fail, he'd get a better job.
That's a great way to put it too. Fails up. Yeah.
But then I feel like he finally got that crappy job. It wasn't a crappy job, but it wasn't a great job down there at Florida Atlantic. Whenever he went to Florida Atlantic, I think that changed his career. I think it changed Lane, and I think everybody
I think working for Saban, he even said, there was a video up there that I just saw that he said that was like getting a master class in coaching, and having coached with, I think that he kind of took on his own, way whenever he left, but he was with Pete Carroll too before that. So it's not like he's had bad guys to learn from.
Very true.
And then his dad, Monty Kiffin, is one of the greatest defensive coaches in the history of football.
The Bucks. And who else did he coach for?
A few teams, but he is who invented the Tampa 2.
Yeah. Whenever they won that Super Bowl that year.
Yes, bro.
Monty
Dude,
Kiffin.
hey man, that was Monty Kiffin's. Look, man, Lane he's a good coach. He's a good coach. So but yes, I think that what he did with the Raider deal, I don't know exactly what happened there. That's between him and Al Davis. But when he took that Tennessee job, he should have stayed there. And I think that if anything, Pete kind of screwed him because when Pete left to go to the Seahawks, he knew what was coming around the corner, which is why he left. But then he didn't warn. Nobody warned Lane that, go ahead and take the job and see what happens.
Pete Carroll was the coach of Tennessee. I thought Pete Carroll
he was
USC.
SC. Okay. So Lane was at Tennessee and Pete was still at SC. And then he takes the Seahawks job and Lane takes the job
at USC.
At SC. But not
He failed
realizing that all the crap that they had done.
Got you. Okay,
Had-
now I get what you're saying.
Now their
I get what you're
recruiting
saying.
issues and all that stuff with
Okay.
Reggie Bush and all that, which
I
Lane
follow
had
you.
something to do with that. He was there during all that time. So, whatever. I mean, he ended up, he probably should have stayed at Tennessee. If it's me, you figured they were, because, I mean, that year that he was there, I mean, they were a hair away from beating Alabama. They lost on a field goal at the end of the game. It was.
I got to tell you,
They were right there. They were on their way, and since then, Tennessee hasn't recovered from it. So,
yeah.
that's why they hate him there.
I got to tell you that Lane Kiffin is probably my favorite character in all of college football.
Bro, he's
He's such a troll.
The best troll, bro. He trolls with the best of them. Yes, and he
my
loves that needle. That needle's always out, and he's ready to turn it in there a little bit. Yeah, he's best with the needle, no doubt about it. Love it.
Favorite college football.
So it
coach.
surprises me that at the moment that he's not in the top 3, for Arch Manning. But I could tend to wonder. And they're saying that he's warm on places like SC. He's warm on probably, what did you say, Florida and something that you had read?
Boston College.
Boston College, I
Boston
saw that too.
College.
I tend to doubt that. I could see Clemson, I guess.
So it's Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Clemson, and Boston College.
Right.
Which I don't. You know what? I wish he would go to Boston College. Out of all those schools, I wish Arch Manning would go to Boston College. However, he's not going to. And the reason I say that is for no other reason that I
could
tend
see
to
him
like
going to
my
Oklahoma
quarterbacks.
first. I would see him going to Oklahoma first because of Levy and because they like Jeff Levy. He was at Mississippi last year. So he's probably seen a lot of Arch and he was recruiting him heavily. So
The only reason I would say I'd rather him go to Boston College is just for, go into a team that's not the top team in the country, kind of like the Trevor Lawrence conversation that we had last week. I want a guy that's going to get beat up. He's going to take some L's. He's going to play in a muddy pocket a little bit more. So I'm not saying Arch won't be able to handle that. He probably will. He'll be fine. But I don't want to see Alabama or Georgia.
Can you imagine? I mean, he's been going to the Manning camp since he was a child.
Very true.
He's been in the Manning camp since
He's going to
he
be
was a little
fine.
bitty kid.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do feel like, I don't know. I could also see Georgia just because of the fact, now, not because I really like their offense or anything like that, but they always have great running backs, which is going to keep him safe. They do run a pro style offense.
Yeah, Georgia's the best pick of the 3.
I would think so too. Although, I mean, if it's Alabama, I mean, yeah. I mean, really, Matt is their first rounder though, right? No, Tua would have been, because nobody else that went and played for Saban was really doing that.
But Mac Jones and Tua both did it. I think Mac will be good enough. I don't know about Tua, but I think Mac will be good enough in the pros that people won't no one's overlooking Arch Manning. I don't even know what I'm talking about. No one's overlooking. However, if he goes to Alabama,
if he goes to Alabama, then it's not going to matter.
Whatever he goes, he's fine. He's a Manning. He's going to get a shot. He's going to have Peyton.
But I would tend to agree with you that if you're wanting to do something as far as like if you really want him to be coached by the best, then you're probably going to send him to Southern California.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean,
or Lane Kiffin. I think that those two. I like both of them. I like Ole Miss because they have a history there, and Lane Kiffin's a good coach. He understands the program.
That's where Archie and Eli both went.
And then I like USC. I make an argument for both. I don't like Alabama. I don't like Clemson. I mean, I guess if you had to pick one of those, I pick Georgia. But I like those other schools better. It makes more sense.
But the one thing I would say about Clemson is that they've had 2 first-rounders as well in Deshaun Watson and now Trevor Lawrence.
Very true.
I know you're not a big Trevor Lawrence guy.
That's fine. He might be the best quarterback of all time. Who knows? But I just don't think it's happening.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to a commercial break here real quick, but we've obviously gone a little bit over what we were expecting. This is going to we're going to take a quick commercial here, and we'll be right back.
One game-changing move the Eagles should make as soon as possible. The Eagles have one of the best offensive rosters.
Hey guys, don't forget to find Bryce on TikTok. It is fantasysports_Bryce. to get the best in. Listen, he is an expert at what he's talking about with fantasy sports. He's going to make moves that you probably haven't heard, and if you're going to hear any kind of stuff similar to this, you're going to hear it on pay sites. So at the moment, he's free, but it may not be free forever. This guy will help you win your league. You're getting ready for your draft, you need to pay attention to what he's talking about. So log on again, Fantasy Sports _Bryce. It's Fantasy Sports with Bryce on TikTok. And if you're ready to start your podcast journey, look no further than Riverside FM. They power both of our podcasts, Nobody's Safe and Way Past Due, the campaign to get Otis Taylor into the Hall of Fame. And I got to tell you guys, there's not really an easier way to do this. I'm not exactly a, what you would call an expert at editing video, audio, all that stuff. I don't have to be. It's real simple. I load up, I focus on content, making sure that we have the right stuff in there, and then Riverside kind of does the rest for us. You know, fabulous deals. They're going to give you an hour for free to start off with. All you have to do, if you see the little QR code at the top right, scan it with your phone, money. You'll get right in there. They're going to give you an hour for free for doing that. And you can kind of, start low, go up a little higher as you need more time. But it's all done for you pretty much. And you can even edit what you have to right on the software. No easier way to do it. So check it out. Check it out today. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Nobody's Safe. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. And today the Browns are not safe.
They're never safe.
The Browns are gonna brown, aren't they?
I think it's looking like that. I didn't want to say that. I thought they had a Super Bowl chance if Deshaun Watson plays, but it looks like they're really browning it.
I can't imagine. I don't know how. I don't know. Everything that you keep hearing, and it's more information every day. Every day, more stuff comes out about what happened with Deshaun, and it's up to 66 different freaking throw them up there. You're right. 66 massage therapists. Okay, and 24 now. Now we're up to 24 now that are in on this lawsuit. And today, the lawsuit said that the Texans are also named in the lawsuit as well. They are going after them too for being responsible for what their quarterback was doing. It makes me wonder, what the hell were the Browns thinking? Look, I know that we're in different areas when it comes to Baker Mayfield, but the truth of the matter is Baker Mayfield took them to the playoffs for the first time in 26 years. Okay.
I'll tell you this, Jason, just with that right there.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick. So, yeah, we're in a different spot with Baker Mayfield. You're right. But, on other teams, I've spoken pretty loudly saying, hey, like Jalen Hurts, please start their backup. I'm not there with Baker yet. I'm not there. Like, there's not a guy on their team that's better than him other than Deshaun Watson. There's not too many guys that I would rather have that are backups, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want him to go out and get Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is trash. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not top 20 to me, but
I know he's not to you, but I know that to other people he is. And to me, of course, he is. Yeah. But I'll say
it doesn't matter there.
What I'll say is that bottom line is there hasn't been a quarterback since they became the Browns again, when the Browns became the Ravens, and then they brought in this new era, and they'd been to the playoffs once in that time. He's the first one to win a playoff game in 26 years. They almost get back the next year. He's hurt from game 2 on, and why he continued playing, whatever. The bottom line is did he have a great year? Of course he didn't. He did not. Now, but it amazes me that it
the
seems
Browns
like
can screw
Cleveland
it up bad?
This bad, because not only did they go out of their way to ugly up Baker on his way out, now it appears that they need him, because to me, if Deshaun Watson plays, he might play half the season. And that's just what we're hearing. The truth of it is there is no precedence for what this really is. I mean, we're talking sexual assault on upwards of 24, and some women dropped out of this lawsuit that were in on it before. I don't know. To me, there can't be that much smoke with no fire. Can there?
Well, here, I'm not even going to touch on that because I don't know. I'm not going to. I like to talk football. Now, here's what I think about the Browns, though. When it comes to the Browns, you went from having a starting quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who did lead you to the playoffs.
Right.
Then you went out and thought you upgraded and got a better quarterback. In the Browns' opinion, they felt like they got a better quarterback.
Sure.
And now it appears like they've made Baker mad.
Oh, yeah.
Deshaun may not get to play, and now they don't have a quarterback, and they're back to being the Browns.
And not only that, but the $230 million guaranteed contract for a guy that you don't know is going to – man,
that's another thing.
I just said that to you a minute ago. I wouldn't touch this guy with a 100-foot pole if I owned that team until I knew what was happening. Like, he shouldn't have a contract right now. I would not. I can imagine that he's not still with the Texans because of that fact. That look, until this is over with, I wouldn't have touched him.
Well,
I wouldn't have traded for him.
You had to have believed, one, you're the Browns, and you picked up Kareem Hunt after his incident, but you had to have believed. I hope that you had to have believed that this is a false accusation. You had to believe it was false, or you wouldn't have done it. But if I'm the Browns, this is just a little off the wall again. Like, why not go get Phillip Rivers or go get Matt Ryan and go – if you're going to get a better – go get one of those guys. But they never do that. No. They continue to start trash.
Bro, yeah, it's like they continue to roll their – they'll either roll the dice in the draft, like, you know – but
like the Broncos.
But, like, it seems like the one time – and it's just so Brown – to like, okay, the one time that you've gotten it right in the draft and he took you to the fucking playoffs and he's junk. He's terrible.
I tend to agree.
One time you got it right, you're so Browns that you just Hey, we can upgrade here. Agree. We can upgrade here, so we're gonna do it. And because we want it so bad, which hey, listen, man, I was the last person. I mean, there's stuff on Twitter where I was saying, there ain't no damn way Deshaun Watson goes there. No damn way. I didn't think for a second he was going to the Cleveland. And you know why he did? 230 guaranteed. First contract guaranteed in the history, not to Peyton Manning, not to Tom Brady, to Deshaun Watson, who's got 23 sexual assault allegations against him. The only reason that he didn't, I don't even understand why he didn't get any kind of criminal stuff other than my guess is, and from what I can tell is physical evidence wise, pretty tough to get in this instance. But with that many, it seems odd to me that they wouldn't have sent that to the DA. I just, the two grand juries not doing it, it's weird. But that being said, it's still something not right there. And look, that does not look good for the league. And one of the women on the HBO show was saying how disgusting it was to her, and actually all of them on that show were saying that it was disgusting to them that here he is, they're flaunting, giving him this big money, and he's just going to walk away from this thing scot-free. So no, they weren't going to say okay to $100,000, which is what has already been offered per woman.
Well, here's the deal with this. Okay. With me, here's the deal with me. Like, and this is why I won't touch it, and this is why I don't even really like to talk about it, because we're in a world where it's supposed to be you're innocent until proven guilty. He's not guilty yet, and until
he's not going to prison. Let's just make this clear: he ain't going to jail. This is lawsuits. This isn't a criminal matter anymore. The two grand juries decided not to pursue it, that they didn't send it on to the DA. So 2 different times. I mean, in all actuality, when it comes to that stuff, they didn't have enough evidence for it to be pursued. He's not going to prison.
Yeah,
Now,
my thing is, I just thought it was the timing of everything was a little interesting. The guy decides he wants a trade. All of a sudden, all this comes out. I wonder if some rich billionaire.
I think there's a lot of angles to this. I think there's a lot of angles to this, and I think that the Texans have a big part of that. That owner from the Texans is a wacky dude, man. He's a wacky dude. And who's to say now they just got named in the lawsuit as well. So who's to say? But it seems to me like there's definitely a lot of layers to this. But all I'm going to say is this. If there's this much smoke, there was a fire somewhere. Okay? Something that he was doing was a little and look, man, read through some of it, you'll see it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, man. It just doesn't.
I think it's clear though, like in my opinion, this is why I'm not going to touch it, because I for one, and I may be in the minority, I don't think I am. I don't really trust American media. I don't trust our justice system. So I don't even know what to think anymore.
No, it's hard to.
I'm just going to talk football.
Well, and that's, I'll say that too, is that, I'm not saying that he necessarily did it either. I don't know. I'm just saying that, and my point being, and I think this is where we were both at, is that when you've got something like this hanging over your head, you don't give him a freaking $230 million guaranteed contract and run off a guy that took you to the playoffs when you never go to the playoffs.
I agree. And now I'm trying to walk on eggshells a little bit, because y'all remember this lost episode. We argued so bad. Well, we had 2 lost episodes, but we argued so bad about Baker. I don't think the Browns had it right with Baker. But I will say that I don't know if there's a guy in the league they could just pick up off the way. I guess they could go trade for Gardner Minshew or I mean, that's really the only backup that I like better than Baker in the league. But I guess they could go run out and get him. So I think that their best choice is Baker Mayfield right now, unfortunately, even though I don't think they got it right. But he is their best choice right now.
Right. But, and again, though, but I mean, listen, as far as like what transpired from, I mean, every other quarterback that they've drafted since coming back to Cleveland as a franchise has failed.
And it's sad to say, me and you probably don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many quarterbacks.
No, we do not. It's like
NFL
15, 16 of them, bro. They've had different starting quarterbacks year after year after year after year. Well, together we do. Yeah. Look, it's just, hey, look, though, bottom line is, the one time that a quarterback actually gives them wins, it used to a 7 or 8 win season 8 wins might take them 3 years or more. So bottom line is, all I'm saying is it's so Cleveland to do this. And, I
wanted to see list of Browns quarterbacks before Baker Mayfield.
Look it up.
That'll be
fun.
Look it up.
Yeah, do that. Go all the way back to like from Tim Couch on. You'll love this.
So here we go.
Is fun.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yes.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Right. Deshaun Kaiser. There's another first rounder. Go ahead.
And he's from Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Kevin Hogan from Stanford. It's so stupid that I know this stuff. Robert Griffin III, Josh McCown, Cody Kessler, Austin Davis, Johnny Football.
Football.
Josh McCown again. Yes. Connor Shaw, Johnny Football again. Brian Hoyer, which I think Brian Hoyer should have been the starting quarterback for the Browns, or this guy, Brandon Weeden. I liked him too.
Brandon Weeden, actually, he was the one out of that group that actually was starting to win some games. They had Braylon Edwards Hoyer at that time still. They had Braylon Edwards still at that time. Yeah. Well, and they were there together. So that was they actually had put together a decent enough team. Who was that?
Some of these guys, oh my gosh. Who was the coach some of these guys, I don't even know who they are, and that's sad. Jason Campbell, Thad Lewis, Cynical
You don't remember
Wallace.
Jason Campbell? Jason Campbell played SEC Auburn, I believe. Yes, Auburn. He was pre-Cam, maybe. Right before Cam.
So right here, if you start counting them, oh my gosh. So let's see if we have enough finger and toes. So you start counting them. I'm going to name them again. Tyrod Taylor, Kevin Hogan, Deshaun Kaiser, Josh McCown, Robert Griffin III, Cody Kessler, Austin Davis, Johnny Manziel, Josh McCown, Connor Shaw, Brian Hoyer, Brandon Weeden, Jason Campbell, Thad Lewis, Seneca Wallace, Colt
15.
McCoy, Jake DeHome, Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, Ken Dorsey, Bruce Gradkowski, so that we already named him.
We're at 22.
Charlie Fry, Trent Dilfer, Jeff Garcia, Luke McCown, Kelly Holcomb, Tim Couch.
There you go,
Doug
Tim Couch.
Peterson.
That's
Is
your
that the
right
end?
there.
Okay.
That's your end right there. So that's 28.
Well, you said
28
whenever they
starters.
went to. Well, I thought you said 99 whenever they came back. Tim Couch.
That was,
okay, so no,
that was
there's-
when they got. That was their first pick, Tim Couch.
Oh, okay, got you. I
Yeah,
remember
Tim Couch was their first pick. Yeah, UK, Kentucky, like number one pick. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
he was good for a minute. Then he went garbage. So yeah.
How many was that?
Listen, 28. I think if I may have lost count.
16. I told you we didn't have enough fingers and toes,
It was a
bro.
lot. It was a lot. Yeah. I think it was 28. It may have been more. I need. Yeah.
I got my kid
Call the
coming
wife
in here.
in.
Hey, can I borrow your- that's why I'm having another kid so I can count Browns quarterbacks.
Good grief, man! You're gonna have Browns quarterbacks. That's your. No. Listen, and that's but it's so Browns to do this. I mean, and thinking that they now all of a sudden because they really know what a good quarterback is in Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah, all of a sudden we figured it out.
yeah,
Yesterday.
Baker. They got cocky after going to the playoffs once. So we should win the Super Bowl. Okay.
Hey, it worked out well with Kareem Hunt. Let's just up
so
the ante by about
silly,
30
bro.
times.
It's so silly. Dude.
Let's up the ante on Kareem Hunt.
And then I heard somebody, and this is a good transition because talking Twitter, but so one of the guys was making the argument about Cleveland that if Cincinnati could do it, then the Browns can do it. Okay,
No.
no, no, because Cincinnati has a coach that was in that Shanahan McVay tree. The Shanahan tree that had McVay. And now it's a McVay tree because they're everywhere. Everybody that worked with McVay has gotten a job. If you got a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, you got a job because Cliff Kingsbury and him were buddies, and that's how he got the job. The fuck out of here,
Jason, there's so much more to that statement. You can't even compare those two. Cleveland and Cincinnati, because
it's not
we just
the same
named
thing.
how unstable the Browns are. Go look at the stable. Cincinnati's a very stable place. They're stably
They
bad.
don't mess around.
but
They've
they
been
don't
bad.
fire
mostly.
people. They don't fire
don't.
people. They
Look,
stick
Marvin
with
Lewis
quarterbacks
got
too
to hang
long.
around for 15 years, not doing
Yeah,
much.
that's because they have a
You know?
good organization. They're stable. They're stably
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah,
why
they're
I think
they're
that this
real
might
tight
last a
with their
while.
money and weird like that, so they just kind of keep people around. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, and they're going to be good from time to time.
Completely
right now, they
opposite.
have a great nucleus of young players,
Oh man,
particularly on offense, but even on their defense was really good. They didn't
it's
just
fine.
get to the Super Bowl by chance. They almost won the damn Super Bowl.
that
I mean,
offense
it's not
is
like
really good.
oh, bro, think about it. Their two running backs are studs, both of them.
Joe
they're-
Mixon
they're-
for sure.
Yeah, Mixon and P. Ryan, though, but they're
I don't
both
like P. Ryan.
serviceable, very good
Yeah,
running
you could
backs,
play him.
right?
He's
Yeah.
a good backup.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that he's a starter in the league because he's not.
Jamar Chase may be. You could make a case that
He
Jamar
might be
Chase
the number
even-
one.
He might,
He might
be.
be the number one. He might be the number one receiver in the world.
I'll give him top 5, but he might. You could make a great argument
Hey,
right
look,
now. I mean,
man,
he broke
I saw him
certain-
do things. And he hadn't played football in a year.
Oh, we have 3 minutes. No, we have more than 3. We got 5 minutes. Hey, here, check this out, though, Jason. I know we got to move on.
Oh, we do.
But-
Wow.
I told one day, whenever I told my cousin this, y'all don't know who he is, but he's a cool guy. Anyways, I told him, he was like, man, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, he's going through all that. And the fantasy draft was about to come. He picked after me. He had the 6th pick. I had the 5th pick. That shows you how bad I played. And I was like, hey, let me tell you something. Jamar Chase would have won the Heisman Trophy had COVID not happened. That's
yeah.
a fact. That dude would have
guaranteed.
won it.
Bro, he was easily the best player in the country.
Oh, easily. And he just didn't
Easily.
play because of COVID. or
Absolutely.
whatever
Look,
happened with that,
look, I
he
mean,
didn't play.
Look, Devontae ended up winning, and he was great. Don't get me wrong. But look, man, he's not on the same planet as this guy. He's not.
That receiver class, just with those two guys, reminds me of the year Julio and AJ and Alshon Jeffrey came out. Like,
Jesus.
just with those two guys,
Filthy.
it was an incredible
Just
class.
filthy, dude. Just filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. But anyway, listen, moving forward on that, obviously, these, and, you know, talking about Twitter, it's so weird the things that get said on Twitter because, and people, I know that they're a bunch of whack jobs, but there's a guy on there today. You know, let's just transition to this. Obviously,
Bring it.
We have gone past the nomination time, and now we're waiting on the Hall of Fame to cut down their senior class from the 100 upwards of 100 nominees down to 25, and then down to 12, essentially semifinalists. Something that, you know, talking Twitter. To me, you know, we talked about this last time around. You know, we did the show together that was a double show, and we were talking about the apples to apples stat comparisons that we do, where we have essentially we moved ourselves, Otis Taylor, into the top 5 for sure. I have him as high as second, maybe third, maybe even fourth. But
good case
one
for
thing
any
is
of it.
for sure, it's a good, yes, you can make a case for him anywhere but probably Jerry Rice. Okay. But we had a guy today that was talking about Tyreek Hill being the best Chiefs
A backup
receiver
running back in
history.
college, yeah. He's an incredible
dude,
receiver.
I mean, this is unbelievable to me. The guy in 6 years' time has 70 more freaking receptions than Otis Taylor in that time and doesn't have as many touchdowns. It's only one behind, but he's got 80 more freaking catches, 70 more catches, and doesn't have as many. His yards per reception average is about 4 yards behind, and his touchdown to reception rate is about 4% less. So look, there's two guys in the history of football that scored touchdowns at a higher rate than what Otis Taylor did. And this is something about that apples to apples stat that we didn't highlight as much on our show. I've highlighted it more since then. He had 15% of the balls that he caught resulted in touchdowns. That's more than Terrell Owens. That's career. That's more than anyone except for Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, who are at 16%, 1 point higher. T.O. was 1 point lower. Calvin Johnson was at 11%. Michael Irvin, I think at 9%.
Wow.
So, I mean, what we're talking about, if you want to argue about whether or not he was going to do what they did or whatever as far as yardage is concerned, fine. But if you look at those numbers, 17.8 is higher than Jerry Rice. It's higher than all of them. The only one that's higher than there's guys from his era and after that had a higher rate, but not many from after. From his era, yes, they threw it deep. Now, you might say that his yards per reception would come down if he caught a lot more balls and played in this offense. Okay, fine, maybe. Would it go down that much? Probably not. Because one thing is for sure, 21% of the completions for his team, if he played in one of these offenses, these days.
No, hold on. Let me just go there. I want to jump in here.
Please.
Andy Reid is one of the greatest Hey, you know what? He's the best offensive coach. I don't remember Bill Walsh. Andy Reid's the best offensive coach I've ever seen. Better than Sean McVay. Better than he's the man. Okay. You're going to put Otis Taylor in that offense with a guy that can throw the ball probably 100 yards. I don't think he can.
Yeah.
Patty Mahomes has a cannon.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now,
his dad
numbers
was
are going to be higher. Like apples to apples doesn't work on that. It's going to be higher than everything Tyreek Hill does.
Listen, and that's not even hard. Because Tyreek Hill averaged like 13 yards per reception, that's almost 5 points behind, 5 yards behind what Otis had for his career. Even if it goes down a little bit, it ain't going down that far. Okay,
Well, put Calvin Johnson in that offense and tell me what happens.
Right,
Because that's what it is.
Yeah, guys, think about it. And Calvin Johnson was in an offense that all they did was throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, man, 11% of his catches were touchdowns. That's high. That's super high.
Yep.
Way up there. But there's literally 3 guys that are anywhere close to what Otis had, which was 15%. There's T.O. that was at 14, and then Rice and Moss were at 16, 1 point over. Now, Rice and Moss also averaged 23% of the receptions for their team went to them. Otis was at 21.6. T.O. was at 21.2. Okay? I mean, we're talking about guys that were not only just number 1 receivers on their team, but they were number 1 all-time type dudes.
Yep.
You know, they were in that conversation, guy. I saw that where Randy Moss continues to say that he's number 1 and T.O.'s number 2, and that Jerry Rice is 3 or 4 is what Moss likes to say, which is ridiculous.
I know it's ridiculous, but that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about Tyreek Hill. We're not talking about
talking about Tyreek Hill, damn it. And this is what I was getting at with this whole thing is this is why it's so hard. You Chiefs fans, this is why you don't have him in the Hall of Fame.
This is why Otis to a backup running back who Andy Reid made amazing. Andy Reid's going to the Hall of Fame, but that guy's a backup running back.
Hey, look, man, I will be surprised. I'm with you that I like Tyreek Hill. I think that he's fine. I don't know what's going to happen coming forward. I could definitely see him going down to Miami and kicking it on the beach and not doing shit else for his career because he may not.
Jason, I told you
because he is certainly not in the situation that he was in Kansas City. Guaranteed he's not. So while he was great there, and I understand Chiefs fans loving him, don't for 1 second think that he was better than Otis Taylor. And look, I am not a Chiefs fan. In fact, I say the hell with the Chiefs. I'm a Niner fan. I don't.
Yep.
I can tell you right now, I am as big, and I've only known of this dude for a few months, and I'm telling you that I am so pro Otis Taylor because I have actually dug in this, and I'm telling you guys, this is exactly why he's not in the Hall of Fame. Because even among Chiefs fans, you cannot get it in your head that Otis was more than what he was. If anybody is telling me that Tyreek Hill is on the level of Otis Taylor, you're not paying attention. And if it's bad enough that they're not, but that's exactly what's happening with the Hall of Fame voters as well. They are still looking at this apples to apples of yardage, touchdowns.
It's a different game.
It's so different, but that's not the way they're looking at it. And when even the fans are doing the same thing, it's so ridiculous. Folks, I implore you, please go onto our website, Otis Taylor, 4 HOF.com. Look at these apples to apples stats that we have come up with, and they are real. They're real stats. We've changed a couple of numbers to show the difference in the eras, the time periods, the amount of balls being thrown around. That's all we're doing. We're not – and look, bottom line is because you have to do that in order to get anybody's damn attention. If you can't look at the damn film and know that he was a Hall of Famer, then there's something wrong with you. But if you're not getting there. We're not even getting there. So since we need to show you numbers, those are the numbers you need to see. Not his actual numbers that because of the fact they literally the Chiefs of the last 10 years, they've completed 3,339 or something like that. The Chiefs of Otis Taylor's era attempted 3,493 passes in 10 years. The Chiefs in the era of Travis Kelce, his 10 seasons, have completed 3,350 something.
Yep. Jason, we are out of time, and the Chiefs fans need to figure it out. That's all there is to it. Chiefs fans, figure it out. Study your own guys. Understand who's better than who. Travis Kelce's not in the same breath as Otis Taylor, and neither is Tyreek Hill. No one on that team is
great as
no
they
one
are
of all time.
No, And as great as they are, too, nobody's even bad-mouthing these guys. What we're telling you is stop it. And this is why everybody wants to know why he's not in. This is why. Guys like this dude. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe to us, guys. We're going to keep putting up content up there, and we're so glad that we have the fans that we do. But get the word out there and talk to us a little bit more. And hey, interact. Hey, I'm going to throw our emails up on the screen here. Hit us up. Hit up the Nobody's Safe hotline, because nobody is safe here. We're so willing to hear what you have to say. You can hit us on Twitter as well. All that stuff will be up on the screen here. You see it right here. Take a look. It's going to be in the description as well. So appreciate it, everybody. Hey, Bryce, thanks again, bud. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot,
See you
everybody.
later, man.
Good night. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Click the like and subscribe button already. We need subscribers. It helps the algorithm, gets more people out there talking about Otis Taylor.